Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another free pre-market broadcast presented to you by Investors Underground. And for those of you new here, I don't think that's many of you, but I get together a handful of mods and we go through the watch list for the day. And this is something that we do every single day in the room at 8:45. Wherever you're watching this, please hit like, subscribe, retweet, whatever it is. Do us a favor and help spread this message. Just means that we can release even more free content. And just before we get stuck in, just the standard disclaimer: this is for information education purposes only. These are not buy or sell recommendations. All right, I think that's everything covered off, so let's get stuck in. Judah, take it away.
Good morning. I hope you could hear me well. I'm jumping right into it with PRs and catalysts. Galaxy recent IPO that's been moving quite well with good volume lately. They pretty much missed and sales are down, but it's holding up still. Could have used a few more days, but earnings comes out, it doesn't really matter as long as the reaction's positive. If it starts to trend off open, then I'd potentially be interested there. LMND, another one with earnings, still negative EPS, but they beat the estimates. They're raising guidance. Recent big mover, or not so recent, but big mover of their earnings back in November. Just been putting in this base, this little bit of a handle. If we could get going over that 40 level, then I'd be interested over there. MDGL, the earnings this morning, it's okay. I mean, they're still losing money, but they're beating sales and better than estimates. And it's just been pretty much basing for, almost 2 years now. It's just been doing nothing since this gap. So, not so much volume, doesn't really get volume intraday that much, but the liquidity is kind of fine. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Nothing, I'm extremely excited about. VWAV was, big mover last week, and then we got a delayed reaction liquidity trap. Now we're pulling back on decreasing volume, and this came out this morning. So if that gives a little bit of, volume push, then I'd be interested. And then LIDR, big move off NVDA stuff going on back here. Then they had earnings out on this day here, rolled over a little bit, but each day, it pulls back. It was on lighter and lighter volume. And then shareholder letter out this morning gave it a little bit of a push. So I'm going to be patient off open, see what it does from there, and potentially continues to push a bit. And their earnings were pretty horrible. 22,000 in sales. Not so great, still in negative, just, for a quick type of move. As for continuations, we got QBTS, part of that quantum basket. QUBT had news this morning. So if the whole basket starts to get some sort of momentum off that, I like QBTS, but they have earnings in 2 days. That's something to keep in mind. AVAV earnings gap back in June, and it's just been putting in higher lows, tightening up a little bit. If we get going over this pretty much this opening level, then I'd be interested. SOFI had earnings. That was the earnings gap over here. They had the offering. Then it bounced back, and it's just been soaking this 2050s area. So over this trend line, this key level of 2180s 22, then I'd be interested for a potential build. You could see the big volume, and then just day by day we're just lowering. So any trend over there. Carvana gap on their earnings, pulled back 2 days on decreasing volume back into that base and the 10-day. So if it starts to reverse, then I'd be interested. Otherwise, a little bit more of a build out and reversal. RKT earnings Friday. Now potential delayed reaction. If we go into the hourly, we could kind of see that it's just building up here. So I'm looking for, that build over 1720. Coursera gap up on their earnings, and now it's just, tightening up, building higher lows. Volumes drying up a little bit, so potential delayed reaction over there. Then ASPI, I just added, nothing crazy about it, but it's holding up well. If it could continue this trend, then potential over there, but that also nothing I'm too excited about. That's what I got. Passing it over to Emil.
Hey, morning everyone. Yeah, so for me, it's going to be SMXT on radar this morning. They going sideways, and usually I'm looking for something. It's either going to break this range, but since it's looking weak, zero interest to short even a range break here onto the downside. So I would rather wait another push through, making new highs. Ideally, one push towards 180-ish plus, and then see if it's going to stop there. So any bluff after the open, I'm going to be interested in joining such move on the short side. AIP, this one might be tricky, mostly because breaking out on daily, so it's sort of holding the trend. It's really a big breakout, but then on the other hand, the range is there, and it having this type of slowing, losing momentum so far. So if after the open, it's going to stop 1550-ish area and break under this level, I'm going to be interested in shorting pops and then risking 16, or it really depends how it's going to move, but no more than 17 area. So ideally, it's going to stay, weak, and then I'm going to watch to join pops, given the fact that it's still up around 60%. So quite enough range. But if it's just going to hang around, it's going to soak and then builds up, I'm going to avoid it and leave it alone until it's going to offer a better risk reward. TSSI, that's another setup I'm watching. This is it's looking good and not so. It's a pretty loose setup for my taste, but if since it's breaking out this range, I would really like to see how the volume is going to be today. And also, ideally, it's going to give some dips versus green to red or 29 area, and then build up and maybe some volume surge and then an opening range break sort of setup in order to be interested in taking any long position today. Other than that, might need a few more days, but definitely a decent setup to consider for a long trade. SoFi, I like the fact that it's holding, and after this big sell-off found a base above 21. Now it's breaking out and it's getting above this range. So for me at this stage, it's going to be any build up pretty much again above yesterday highs, but again, I would really like to see some dips against this level, and then maybe some sort of build up in order to take in consideration for a long. So it really needs to give a range where I could base my risk off. So I'm going to wait a little bit, see if it's going to give that type of action, and then looking to join. Also, AppLovin, I like this one mostly because it's building up and it's coiling. This is similar to me, like Rocket Lab when just a second. So where was building up here before starting to run up again. So this is sort of similar type of action. And in the past 3 days, as you can see, the volume was pretty big, gapped up, and then reclaimed this area, and now it's breaking out above that area. So at this stage, any dips versus 390-ish, but also above green to red area, I am going to consider for a long. This one has a history of having some washouts at the open, so I'm expecting to see those drops, and then I would really like to see it soaking and then having a push in order to take a long position. And the last one is APLD. APLD, it's yesterday had a nice recovery after the gap day, and this morning it's testing high. So if at any given stage is going to have some dips versus 1350-ish, and again, same story, or build up under red to green zone, and then it's going to break out, I'm going to be interested in joining any move there. So pretty much that's what I have today, guys, and passing it over to Stan.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, Emil. Good morning, guys. and let me just make this chart a little bit bigger. You can see a little bit better. Okay. Good morning. We have Tuesday, August 5th, and let's just make a sense of a couple of these charts. The first one that I have on watch is a FIG, F-I-G. This one, essentially, I'm watching it for a continuation from yesterday. A nice little sell-off there we had yesterday. If we, take a look on the daily chart, obviously we had this move and then went into the 140s, and since then it's been essentially coming back down on a little less volume. So today we're getting to a spot of previous support, essentially where this move started from. So I'm interested in seeing how this mid to high 80s area behaves out of the gate. But essentially, if the ideal trade for me would be some sort of a push versus 92 or 94, so you can kind of see this previous congestion area, some sort of a clear out 92, 94s, etc., and then fail to follow through. That would be the ideal trade for me. But also what I'm looking for as well is if potentially we flush into the 88s and then that firms up, I'm looking to build perhaps a long versus lows. So that's FIG. Just a couple of plans there. Really depends on what the ticker does out of the gate. I prefer the short option into 94s, clear out, etc. versus this level. And if not, then again, even if it flushes out of the gate, I don't mind exposing to some on the long side with a set risk. The next one that I have on watch is NVIDIA, and NVIDIA has been daily. It's one of those daily drivers more so. You can kind of see the daily chart. Not much really going on there, but each day there's generally $3 to $5 range, which if it sets up in a nice nice manner, then I don't mind trading it. So some sort of a 181s clear out, 181.5s, etc. If we get something pre-market clear outs and then fails to follow through, then I'm interested in a short position versus whatever the highs ends up being. And then the patience trade for me, if this were to unwind the whole day, would be something under 180s or so. And of course we got to have the market agree, and so far SPY is relatively weak there, barely defending or trying to defend VWAP there. So NVIDIA for me, ideally higher the better, and it clears out 181s or previous high or pre-market highs and then fails to follow through. So that's NVIDIA. The next few that I have on watch are the quantum names. So we have Qubit, QUBT with the PR this morning, and then you have the other ones, RGTI, IONQ, QBTS, etc. So the quantum basket is on watch today with QUBT being the primary one. So as you can see on the daily chart, it's a pretty big chart, pretty active chart. There's decent volume throughout the relative moves there. So nothing to fight on the wrong side, but we're coming up on some key levels into the 18s there that essentially the ticker chopped around for a few. So if this presents as resistance today, then I don't mind again setting some sort of a risk versus highs, ideally on the clear out 18.5s or so, and then look for a fail to follow through momentum. But that's pretty much it for me today. Just those several names, and I will see you guys in the room. I'm going to pass this over to Sam.
Super fantastic. Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Judah. Thank you, Mel. Thank you all as always. And as I always say, the one thing you'll definitely get with any of our broadcasts is lots of lots of watch lists, and ultimately it's down to you guys to narrow that down, and focus on what you're good at. So definitely do that when you've got so many names that we've come up with. Really drill it down. Thank you everyone for watching. If you are interested in finding out more about Investors Underground or joining us every single day, like I said, we do this every single day. My details are on screen, or of course head across to our website. Right, that's it.